Welcome everyone to another action figure review, as I have the Bandai Nation's SH Figuarts Satoru Gojo from Season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. So this is known as the Tokyo Jujutsu High School Edition, which is the younger days, the flashback scenes of Gojo. And I was kind of late to the Jujutsu Kaisen game. I knew there was a lot of hype around the first season of the anime, which I did manage to complete. So I did go back and buy the other SH Figuarts characters. Of course, I will do a comparison with this figure later on. But in terms of seeing a review of a Jujutsu Kaisen character, this is the first time on my channel. So in terms of the packaging, this is kind of your standard medium-sized box. So it's a lot bigger than the first season of the characters. And it's got a very clean kind of look to it with a white background. And of course, 2 photos of Gojo. And then on the side, we have many pictures of the face sculpts. And then on the other side, we have the text. And then at the top, we have the photo as well as Satoru Gojo once again. And then this is the information at the bottom. And then on the back, we have the figure in different poses just to give you an idea on how to play around with it. So let's get Satoru Gojo, the Tokyo Jujutsu High School Edition, out of its packaging and take a closer look. So inside the packaging, we have a grey background as well as the instruction manual to show you how to put on the accessories. And here is Satoru Gojo inside its packaging. So here is the first look at Satoru Gojo right out of its packaging, the Tokyo Jujutsu High School Edition. So in terms of the overall sculpt, detail and quality, I guess there's no surprises on how this Gojo figure has turned out to be. Figuarts Nations have been very consistent in making their characters for the Jujutsu Kaisen line. All of them have been excellent quality and very accurate to the anime character. And I guess it's no difference for this version of Gojo. And I'm pretty sure they have sculpted and molded this very similar to the previous Gojo figure, as it is a very simple look with kind of a full black uniform. There's nothing really to it in terms of the uniform. There's not a lot of color or detail. And I guess all the Jujutsu characters are like this. And I think the main selling point of these characters is mostly the head sculpt and the different accessories, the effects. And that's what really brings the life out of these characters. But in terms of the uniform, you're getting one that's going to be very simple. And looking at the back, you can see nothing really there in terms of the detail. The only thing you can see is there is the pin, which is connecting to the top half of his uniform. And it's actually a 3D kind of mold rather than a flat surface. So the main standout of this figure I would say is obviously the head sculpt. As you can see with the different details on the hairstyle, the spikes are all sculpted really well. And then for the face sculpt, we have the bright blue eyes that really stand out from this figure. And we have the neutral look, which is the smile on this figure. So in terms of the height, I guess the scale is to the Jujutsu Kaisen characters because he does seem very tall. So if I bring in the previous Gojo figure, you can see I think it's practically the same. I think the mold of the body of the first one is slightly bigger simply because of the way he wears his uniform. But other than that, you can see the height is very much the same thing. I think it's just the hairstyle that makes the difference. And then obviously the colors is different in terms of the uniform. This one kind of has like a navy bluish purple look. So in terms of first impressions, I guess it is what I expected. And yeah, it's a very excellent sculpt. So the next thing we can take a look at is the accessories, and then we'll move on to the articulation. So now for the accessories, let's start off with the head sculpt. So it does include some alternative faceplates. So the one you're seeing now is obviously the one right out of the packaging, where you have the bright blue eyes with the neutral smile. So for the first alternative faceplate, we have the laughing look with the eyes closed. We also get a second laughing head sculpt with the detail changes to both the eyes and the mouth. The third alternative faceplate we have is the most neutral look with a smile. And the fourth alternative faceplate, the fifth one in total for the collection, is the surprise look with the wide eyes, the most serious out of all of them. And one detailed accessory included in this figure is his sunglasses, so the shades to cover his eyes to give him that trademark look. So they could have easily had this sculpted into one of the faceplates, but they haven't, which is a good thing, meaning this sunglasses can be placed onto all 5 different face sculpts, which I'm going to do now. And here are his sunglasses placed onto the first faceplate, the one right out of the packaging. And here they are placed on the first laughing face sculpt. And here they are placed onto the second laughing face sculpt, the third faceplate, as well as them on the fourth and most neutral face sculpt. And finally placed onto the fifth faceplate, which is the surprise look. And now we can take a look at the different hand accessories. So we're going to start off with the set that came straight out of the packaging, which is the closed fists. We also get a set of open palms. We also get a second set of open palms with a slight change to the thumb and fingers for an action pose. And here we get a set of grapple hands for the fighting stance. We also get a set of hands where it gives him the effect like he's got his hands in his pocket, which is a trademark look for Gojo. Now in the past, Tamashii Nations have done figures where you actually swap a piece out onto the leg, like the One Piece Sanji figure that came out recently. However, for Gojo, you just need to place the two hands in his arms and kind of just hover it over the two legs to give him that effect. Of course, in some angles, it might not look as right, but it's a lot more simple. There is also one extra right hand, which is the V sign. They've also included one extra right hand with the mobile cell phone connected to it. And this is a pretty detailed one, and of course you can have many different poses. And finally, we get one extra right hand for Gojo's trademark look. And this, of course, is the finger pose. So a total of 13 hands are included in this figure. So 5 sets as well as 3 individual ones. And now we can take a look at the articulation. So the movement of Gojo. Let's start off with the head sculpt. So it can turn left and right, no problem. And it can go all the way around, very smooth. And it can tilt side to side. And then downwards motion this much, which is quite a lot, and then backwards this much. And then you can also rotate the neck if you want. And then for the arms, you can see there's extra padding on the shoulders, so you can kind of stretch them outwards, so they move side to side as well as upwards, no problem. And then you can move them backwards this much, and then forwards. And then outwards is the perfect movement because of this extra piece, which is kind of made out of rubber. And then inwards this much. And then for the upper body, you can turn it side to side, no problem. Can rotate all the way around if you want. And then also left and right, and then downwards and backwards a lot, although it does create some sort of gap. And then I also noticed the bottom half of his body is actually a rubber piece. As you can see, I can push it inwards. So it's actually not made out of hard plastic, which I guess is actually pretty good because it allows better movement in terms of the torso. So I just noticed that. You can see it's kind of made out of rubber all around. And then the lower half, of course, is connected to the legs. So for the ab crunch, you can move them forwards like this. And then backwards, no problem. And then you can go side to side, and there's also a waist swivel, very easy because of the way they've built this. And then for the legs, they kick forwards. Once again, this soft material doesn't hinder anything. And you can move it backwards, and then it stretches side to side. And there's a 5 rotation. And then there's a 4 knee bend really far back, which is really good. And there's also rotation on the foreleg, and then of course the foot. For the shoes, rotation, also hinge side to side, and there's also a toe hinge as well. So articulation is actually very smooth since his uniform is very simple, nothing really gets in the way. I like the way they've done the shoulder pads and of course the soft materials. And now for the size comparison, starting off with his fellow SH Figuarts with the Season 1 Jujutsu Kaisen characters, with Gojo once again and Yuji. Here it is next to the SH Figuarts Jujutsu Kaisen Megumi and Nobara. And here he is next to an SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Z Super Saiyan Son Goku and a One Piece Monkey D. Luffy. Here he is next to some Mafex DC characters with Superman and the Batman. And here it is next to some Marvel Legends with Shang-Chi and Wenwu. And finally next to the Jada Toy Street Fighter 2 Ryu and Fei Long. So now for my final thoughts on the SH Figuarts Satoru Gojo, the Tokyo Jujutsu High School Edition. This is an excellent figure in terms of how good it looks. It's everything you want in this particular look, adding to the stellar cast of figures we already have for the Jujutsu Kaisen line, so it's everything I expected. The figure has many options to play around with, where there are 5 different head scans to capture both the light-hearted expressions to the more serious looks, and also you can make that 10 different face scans since you can throw on the shades as well. A total of 13 hands are included, where it's simple but effective, as we have all his main ones like the V sign, the mobile cell phone, as well as the signature pose, and I also really like the hand in the pockets, which is easy to install. The soft rubber material used on the lower body also makes it easy to maneuver, and there's just so many different poses that this figure can do, you can't really ask for more. The only real improvement I would add is some effects onto this figure, although it wasn't really expected as they only did it in the Yuji figure previously. So my score is a solid 8 out of 10. It's a flashback scene of Gojo, but still one very cool to add into your collection. Of course, the first release of Gojo is the main one you want in the line, but if you're a big fan of Jujutsu Kaisen and you like this look, then adding this will only boost your display. Stay tuned to more anime figure reviews as well as news reviews and collections related to the SH Figuarts line. Thanks for watching.